Thank you for joining us on this episode of SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, we have over 30 episodes of senior and caregiver resource podcasts that can be listened to and followed most anywhere you enjoy your music or podcasts, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, even Alexa, and many more. And please don't keep our podcasts all to yourself. Share with a senior or caregiver who you think will benefit from the support that we provide. I am your host, Darlene Mahoney, and I'm excited to share the news that SeniorLivingGuide.com provides a one-stop shop to finding senior housing, including independent and active seniors, a new home, while providing an excellent resource to senior who are looking for assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, or even home health and caregiving service solutions in one easy-to-navigate website. So please visit SeniorLivingGuide.com today. I would also like to thank our podcast sponsors, Parish Healthcare and Parish Medical Center. At Parish, they offer the Parish Senior Consultation Center and Parish Senior Solutions, where each patient's evaluation and follow-up care will be personalized to meet the needs of the individual and their families. And today in the studio, we have our guest, Joshua Freitas. Welcome, Josh. So a little bit about Josh is he is an award-winning memory care program developer, researcher, and author. His care and training philosophies have been featured in prominent publications, including Long-Term Living Magazine, Healthcare Provider Magazine, Science Today Magazine, local news channels, and more. Currently, Mr. Freitas serves as the Chief Research Officer for Certis Institute and is a doctoral student at California Institute of Integral Studies, where he focuses on clinical gerontology and aging neuroscience. He's got some big words in here, so he might have to correct me on a few of them. He has also studied non-pharmacological healthcare at Lesley University, healthcare economics at Harvard University, and music education and music therapy at Berklee College of Music. Mr. Freitas holds 5 certifications related to dementia care and serves on several national advocacy boards for dementia care. Through his 2 recent publications, The Dementia Concept and Joining Grandma's Journey, Mr. Freitas hopes to change the way society views individuals who are living with dementia disease and related forms of dementia. A dementia diagnosis should not be viewed as the end of life, which I really love that. To break the stigmas that impede progress and quality care. Mr. Freitas, we must all advocate for those with memory loss and support their families and friends. So I'm super excited to have you in the studio, Josh.
Me too.
You and we've talked about some different things regarding dementia care in the past, and you are super enlightening on some of the subjects that we've talked about. And over 8.8 million Americans are currently living with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementias, and there's so many different ones. But the number is expected to triple within the next few decades, which is just astounding to me. We can never really imagine the research that is so important as we're heading into those increasing numbers. People need resources when they're caring for a loved one. I think we can never really underestimate that. Can you tell us more about the recent publication, Cognitive Benefits of Photo, and you're going to tell me the reminiscence therapy for dementia patients. And I know this is a study that you've just done. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure thing. So a coalition of organizations got together to figure out how can we use a photo to achieve non-photo based outcomes. So things like improved cognition, socialization. And what we noticed is the power of a photo is pretty powerful. We did 2 different sessions, one that was generic stock photos that anybody could see of a baby, a puppy, that created conversation, some abstract art too as well. But what we noticed is we showed a photo that they knew about or recognized, is that within one session you would see people go from being the person not speaking to the person speaking, and then after asking for more sessions, and then even going to lunch hours later telling everybody about their session, and they talked about their favorite dog or their home. So we actually saw an improvement in cognition. But now the study it's been done, but now we're starting to see all these other avenues. For example, we noticed if you give a nurse 3 or 4 photos to show before giving medicine, that the resident can be up to 50% more likely to take that medicine. So you can avoid Baker acting, you can avoid sending somebody out, you can better manage it and then get the medicine that they need. But even more is socialization is so important. We've noticed this during COVID, is we're now putting a few photos at everybody's seat at lunch, and all of a sudden people are actually eating more because eating is a secondary behavior that just naturally happens in an environment. So they show the photos, neurologically stimulate, they create connections, they don't feel so isolated, and they start to eat more food. So that costs no money, but has a profound impact, and people can do it at home too as well.
Right. And that's what I really like, because I know as caregivers, it's very frustrating when you're working with a family member, a loved one, that you want them to do certain things, and you sometimes feel like you have to push it. And then also on the memory side, with the photos, it can be something, and I think you have to clearly, delicately, and you can kind of tell me how you do this on your end, is introducing the photos. So you're not saying remember. You're just showing them photos and letting them naturally remember or have that recall on their own.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. So one of the sessions I remember watching, they had 5 photos, and they first showed a photo, and the resident was like, I don't know what that is. And they just said, what do you think it's about? And they let the resident guide that conversation. And then sometimes they had to take a photo and put it behind the pile. And the next time they saw it, for some reason it triggered, and you would get all these deep conversations. What I see, a lot of families will come in and they'll have a photo book, and they start, as soon as they don't know it, they start arguing with the resident about what it's about.
Right.
You want to be general, not too specific. And if you don't know a photo, skip it and come back to it. Our brains go through something called the default mode network, which every 15 minutes it kind of resets. So even if it's not working, come back 15 minutes later, and we've noticed that length of time, residents will have a completely different outcome, or even just sitting in different areas. One session we had was in a smaller room, kind of like this, and the resident would not talk. They were very, very closed in, but then we actually did the same session outside. And all before you knew it, they were completely engaging. So it shows the environment has a direct impact on our behavior as well. So just giving people space. And I hate to say it, when I think of memory cares, a lot of times you see small, closed one wing is really expanding that so the mind has places to think and more places to explore. And research shows if somebody has more exploration and more space, there's less wandering, less residents getting out. They don't feel as closed in.
Right. That makes sense. I really do love that just reiterating, not pushing the narrative, not pushing. And it can be so frustrating for a caregiver because you want so badly, especially if they don't remember you and you're showing a picture and you want them to say, oh, I remember this family, or I remember, this is you, or this is your brother, or this is mom, this is dad. It's letting them do it naturally. So I think it's just really educating the caregiver on the best way to approach it. And you can sit down with a photo album and enjoy that time naturally with your loved one without pushing the narrative. And it may be disappointing, but it can be enjoyable. You just have to take a little bit of the time to do that and just kind of get into the groove of it.
Totally. And I want to share one more thing too, just because I know if anyone's listening, it can benefit, is we hear a lot of residents wanting to go home, but we've noticed using photos to redirect that behavior. If you take a picture of their house, frame it and put it on their door, when they ask to go home, most assisted livings have their furniture in the room. Is when they ask, you say, yeah, come with me. We're going to go home, and show the picture on the door. And as soon as they walk in, they see their furniture, and that's enough to bypass that cognitive ability. Yeah. They feel at home, so they're not trying to get out. So meeting them where they are. That
is an amazing tip. I love that. And that's something I've never heard before. So that's amazing. And so you conducted this real-time research at where you are at with the residents at Certus.
So we had 4 locations. We had 37 residents, and they all ranged from 67 up into the 90s, and they had different types of dementia. So though it's a preliminary study and we have to seek more funding to make a larger scale study, is there's so much more to study. There's 100 different types of dementia, and we're already seeing themes. People with frontal temporal dementia act one way, people with Alzheimer's disease act differently looking at the same photo, but we're seeing trends. For example, Alzheimer's is short-term memory deficit, not remembering what you had for breakfast, but remembering 1930, 1940. So these people would see a photo of themselves in the military and talk all day, versus somebody with frontal temporal dementia could actually do that short-term memory, remember specific things, but you would show a photo from the military and they might get frustrated or have fear. So you can actually see that there's different outcomes that we're trying to create the system of prescribing photos, and how do you prescribe photos for outcomes. So now we're starting to seek into that, and we have a whole new group. We worked very closely with a company called Vivid Pics. So they're enhancing photos, we're documenting things, and our goal is to make prescribed best practices for photo use in memory care. And our goal is to actually publish along the way so people can pick up on how to do it, and not trying to charge people tons of money for a service, just trying to help change how we view people with dementia, and also give people a useful, cost-effective tool to use.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And your residents that were in this program, did they look forward to your sessions?
Yeah. So there's actually 2 residents I can think of right off the top of my head that I just saw last week that asked me, when are those sessions starting again? Because we haven't had sessions for about 2 months. And they're like saying the student's name by name specifically. They're asking about them. They're actually curious about them. They want friendships. Right. So we can see the impacts it had. So I think we're going to be re-kicking it up again. And then one thing that I didn't talk too much about is the intergenerational part of this. Is we had all students that were in healthcare, from social workers, pre-med, med. They were linked with residents. They're still reaching out to me, and they also get trained in dementia. So now we're training the next generation to see that dementia is not the end of life. It's a different way of living. And I really love that, because students now still email me. I was like, wow, I learned so much from this process. I see that dementia is just a different way of living. It's not the end of life.
Right.
And there's so much they can contribute. Like one example is one of the people that were in it was an engineer. And one of the students was building a house or doing something, and he literally was like, did you do this resource? Did you look into this? What about these permits? You can save money getting these type of permits. And literally went from a man that had dementia, barely talking, to now giving advice, real life advice to a younger student. So they could see that there was so much value still in people with dementia.
Yeah. I mean, I think that even in seniors in general, younger people sometimes forget that they were just like them at one point, right? They were young, they were vibrant, they had families, they had jobs, they were professionals. They really brought it. And so I think it's nice to be able to come back for younger people to really see them as, because they're still there.
Totally.
Even cognitive decline, even dementia patients and Alzheimer's, they're still there, and they still have that, within them, and being able to bring that out. I think my dad was an architectural engineer, so you were talking about that, and it just absolutely reminded me of that, because that would still pop out in him. Oh, these stairs, they are not to code. I mean, I will tell you, he would still pop out with that, with different things, that because it would bring those types of professional things out in him, because my dad had dementia as well. So it's still there. Those types of things, it's just so interesting. But
it's so peculiar, too, because one thing I noticed is that residents see things in photos when they have dementia differently than we see. So we're so focused on, one example is that one of the photos had some people out next to a lake, and I'm trying to remember exactly what the photo looked like. And though the student kept trying to put like who was in the photo or how do they feel, do they look recognizable, the resident was looking at everything in the background, saw that there was animals and trees, was seeing the holes in the trees, was seeing the type of water, the rocks, the way that it was flowing. So not all the time are they looking at the specific thing. So I think a lot of people with dementia bring a different perspective. They're looking at things a different way, so they could actually add value at looking at things. And I'll share an example. Even company policies, when we write them, we actually have residents come look at them too, and they will give feedback. Like, I don't want that in my community. I think we have a better option. So getting their perspective is really important.
And some of that may be who they are, as far as if they're looking at the background, maybe they were more more of an artist, or they were a photographer, or that was more of their background as far as who they are as a person.
Totally.
And then if they're looking at documents, maybe they were attorneys, or maybe that type of thing. So it brings more of that out in them. So it gives them value as well, being able to look at some of these things and bring value to those images or bring value to documents. It gives them the empowerment and the self-worth that you still need your entire life. That doesn't go away.
Meaning and purpose is so important.
100%.
And I have to say, I think one of the biggest eye-openers for me, and I've been doing research for a while, was looking at people at the beginning of their session to the end of their session, just within a half an hour, 45 minutes, is if you saw them on camera, you would know they have dementia the first 10 minutes. But the last 10 minutes, if you watched it, you would have no idea that many of them didn't have dementia, that they did have dementia. So it shows if you engage somebody in a good quality of life that they're curious about, dementia symptoms go away. And I think that's really powerful as it's kind of its own treatment. And we always say the symptoms of dementia, but the person can override that in the right environment.
You still want to empower someone to feel good about themselves, regardless of that.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, this is like happy stuff. So in addition to the photos, what do you typically recommend for like caregivers at home that are taking care? I mean, that is like one of the hardest jobs anyone can do, is taking care of, their loved one.
Yeah. So photos are really, really great. I always tell people, identify what photos get people to speak the most about, and also let your loved one, if they're in mid stages of dementia, look at their eyes. Look, are they really curious about the photo or not curious? Take those photos that you see that they see and put out in different places that they can pull from. Also, you can use a photo to improve their success in a house. For example, a picture of a toilet on the bathroom, a picture of socks on the sock drawer. What you're doing is cognitively orienting them to know where things are. Or even a picture of an apple on a refrigerator might stimulate appetite to get them to eat stuff, keep food out and about. Also, keep in mind that some photos might create confusion. So you might want to look at the photos you have on the mantle, and maybe they didn't get along with their brother. So if you see frustration, you might want to remove some of those photos too as well. But using photos as a way to navigate can be really powerful. And I always say, try to find a few photos that you can just have around, you could give to people for visits and when they come in, or even ask people. We noticed that kids, pets, and landmarks were very powerful. So having those things that you can pull out from and talk with your loved one can be really powerful as well.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned at the very beginning that I really loved, because we know that getting some folks to eat can be very difficult, and that can also be a very big downfall with dementia, because sometimes the eating just stops.
And the photos helped, but also I always tell people the color red stimulates appetite by 33% for dementia. So we notice our red plates, we see residents eating more than when people are eating off a white plate. So by 33% more. And then for people that overeat where they're forgetting, a dark blue plate will suppress that appetite for dementia by 28%. So you can actually see that you can actually manage someone's eating habits by just the plate color.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. That is amazing. I mean, I think that that's such great things to try at home and even in some of these communities, just to give it a whirl.
Totally.
It's not going to hurt.
It's fascinating. Actually, I did some consulting with an organization that painted a whole wall red, trying to stimulate appetite. But in fast food psychology, they actually noticed if you paint the color red from the eye up, you motivate people to leave, but you make them hungry. So people would literally come and eat and leave really quick. But the psychology behind that is when you go into a fast food place, the color red will stimulate you to eat fast and leave, but also be hungry. So you're motivating more business and more turnover. So when it got into dementia, people literally would grab their food, eat, and just leave the community very quickly. So it's fascinating to see that small things we overlook, but there's such an impact.
Right. That's amazing. Those are great tips. Yeah. That's really great tips. So it's amazing that color can have such an impact on the quality of life of someone living with dementia. And now we're going to talk about music right after we hear from our sponsors.
Parish Healthcare, we believe every life is poetry in motion, motivated by strength and determination. As your bone, muscle, and joint healthcare partners, we believe in blending the art of healing with the science of medicine to keep your body in motion. We believe in healing patients, healing families, and healing communities. For a free orthopedic health assessment, visit parishhealthcare.com/orthoaware. Parish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life.
Hey, Mom, how's the retirement home search coming?
Oh, my gosh. I'm just so stressed out. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, why are you so stressed? What's the matter?
I don't know where to find anything. I just need everything in like one place and know what all the options are.
Does the idea of searching for senior housing seem overwhelming and you just aren't sure where to even begin? SeniorLivingGuide.com has great news for you. We offer a one-stop solution to take the stress out of your senior housing search. At SeniorLivingGuide.com, both our statewide Florida edition book and website are created to make your senior housing search very easy for you to navigate. We provide details on communities, including retirement, assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, and home health, allowing you to decide which best fits your needs and then connecting you directly with those communities. Visit us online at SeniorLivingGuide.com and start your search today and start de-stressing.
And welcome back. So, Josh, you mentioned that you had some music therapy training. So how does that translate for dementia patients?
Yeah, so music therapy is when you use music to try to achieve non-musical goals like walking, speaking. The most amazing thing is music is processed in every lobe of the brain. So it's not just the auditory cortex, it creates feelings and so on and so forth. But what I've noticed is you can help people walk. One example is somebody that served in the military. You put on that song that's off you go into the wild blue yonder, and they'll just start marching. So it bypasses the kinesthetic part of the brain where now they're just walking by themselves. Mm-hmm. Or I see this all the time super successfully. It's called melodic intonation therapy. Somebody can't speak due to aphasia, which is the word salad. It sounds like but people can sing and will bypass it. So they'll sing every lyric, every song. So you can change the words and help people be successful. So I had one lady that used to sing every morning to me. She said, "Good morning to you, good morning to you, good morning, everybody." Because she would take happy birthday. She could still sing but couldn't talk. Later, I actually had a resident, their granddaughter was getting married, and she wanted him to speak at the wedding, and he had really bad aphasia. So we actually took My Country 'Tis of Thee and wrote his whole speech to it, and he sang what he wanted to speak to her on her wedding day because he couldn't just speak it.
Oh, my goodness.
So music is powerful, but sundowning that happens, where as a phenomenon you see behaviors, is you can actually use music to eliminate or decrease this. If you use instrumental, well-known music in the morning, releases endorphins that wakes you up. You don't have those behaviors in the morning, wakes you up more. At meal times, you want instrumental, upbeat, but not well-known, because if they're singing to it in their mind, their neural real estate focuses on that and not eating or socializing, so you don't want to distract. And then in the evening, a non-biharmonic melody like a violin or cello, and I'll do a plug, Yo-Yo Ma's unaccompanied track is the best one for it. Reminds us of our childhood of a very, very simple lullaby, releases melatonin and can improve sleep cycles and reduce sundowning. So even just background music, if it's prescribed the right way, you can actually have tremendous outcomes.
That is incredible. I mean, I don't think that you think about that with aligning those types of patterns with specific music in order to provide that comfort and level you need to get to the specific sleep patterns or awake patterns or what have you. Yeah. So we've talked about this. Is this in any of your books or literature that you have? Yeah, so some of it's in the dementia concept. I am doing a second edition that's going to have more of it. It's just not ready yet. I'm a little bit of a slow writer, severely dyslexic. So some of it is in there, yeah. Okay.
But there are some things that I always share that even at home, you don't have to live in a community to use music. I have a lot of residents at home, they do something called brimming, where they hit a table or hit a chair. And if you actually put headphones on that person, they will actually tap to the rhythm. And then over 2-3 weeks, you actually change the music to slower, quieter music, and you can eliminate that behavior. You go from a physical brim that neurologically makes you relaxed to an auditory brim that makes you relaxed. So I always say, it's called the client preferred music and music therapy. Tell every caregiver, select the music your loved one listened to when they were 18 to 25, and that will resonate. Use that music to de-escalate behaviors when they're agitated, frustrated. Be proactive in playing that music. It'll be familiar, and you will actually reduce depression, agitation, frustration just by having background music that is hand-selected the right way.
I like that. Yeah. And that's such an easy thing to do because we have Google that can just tell you exactly what those musics were. I mean, what those...
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
And people love it. I have to share this story. So we have a robot in one of our communities, and it has Alexa built in, so it will sing songs, but we program it. It has a video of myself singing Happy Birthday, so it will find the resident on their birthday. It has facial recognition, and then Josh pops up and sings Happy Birthday. But the power of music is that it sticks for them for so long. You see the pure joy pop out. And we have residents now that say, Alexa, turn on and play this music, or turn. So you're seeing people adapt to technology even with dementia.
Right. Well, Alexa's so easy to adapt to. She, you can be bossy and she just goes right along with it.
I love it.
I love that a robot comes and sings you. I want that. I want a robot that sings me happy birthday.
The robot is so cool. If you touch its forehead, it links on facial and it just follows you through the community. So if I walk by it, touch its forehead, it will follow me and I can tell it to take notes, to give me reminders, or families can actually log in and talk to their loved one. So they can actually drive it, find their loved one and chat with them.
Oh my goodness.
So it's technology is definitely entering into the assisted living arena, which is awesome.
That is absolutely amazing. That is amazing. I absolutely love that. So what are your greatest challenges that you see for people caring, for people living with dementia in their own homes?
I think it's that they try to do it all by themselves. So I see people get burnt out. I see people completely change how they take care of themselves. And the challenge is that there are resources out there and there are people. You just have to lean on them. I also have to say, don't take things too hard. You're doing a good job. A lot of people will not give themselves enough credit for what they're doing. But then also know that society is understanding dementia. You can go out in public and not be embarrassed. There are great things. I'll give an example. If your loved one has frontal temporal, your loved one might tell people that they're fat, they're overweight, that they're unibrows, or they look funny. And for a caregiver, that could be hard to manage. But if you, in your pocket you have a card that says, please be patient, I'm with somebody with dementia. Many people have them.
I was just going to mention that. That was something that I would have loved to have had with my dad because he was a little bit punchy. And I never thought of that. And I'd heard that. I'm like, that is such an amazing idea. And even if you're out with them and they're trying to tell a story or make a deal, and I'm going to put that in quotation marks, that for something that they can't afford or something that, they're trying to talk up a deal of some sort and someone thinks they're going to be able to sell your parent something. No, you're not. So it is a good thing to be able to say, hey, listen, my dad has dementia without embarrassing them.
Totally.
And that's the point is I never wanted to embarrass my dad or make him feel less than what he was. But I did want people sometimes that were around I'm like, don't get caught up in this spin zone that you're in right now because it ain't happening.
Totally.
Yeah. So.
And those cards are so easy. You can make them, you can buy them. And the other thing, too, is that I say that society, and I hope anybody listening, if you own a restaurant or you own a bank or whatever you own, is reach out. We will give you some free dementia training, and we would love to have dementia-friendly hubs. So a restaurant that is dementia-friendly, we come in for an hour, train all your staff on how to work and serve somebody that has dementia.
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so families can go out and be supported rather than feeling embarrassed or stressed, but somewhere where if they went through the training, we'd put a logo in their window that says that they're dementia friendly, so that when they go out to eat, they know that they're going to get somebody that understands dementia and will respect it and help.
I think that that's amazing. My dad did go to a restaurant that he was going to every single solitary day. And they took very, very good care of him.
I love that.
And I went in and I thanked them. I went and talked to the manager and said, and it was one particular waitress that he was very attached to. And they did take very good care of him. So that was something that was just a big blessing.
I love that. And I always, a lot of restaurants don't even realize some of the smaller psychology. And I know we're going down a rabbit hole, but I love it. I love rabbit holes.
Right.
Is even a black mat people won't cross or they have difficulty. So choosing not to have black mats, but having gray or blue, people with dementia will walk across. It's not perceived as a hole. So something as small as that, or knowing that the research is that people are more successful at square tables versus circular tables for eating. It helps define their eating where they are, or that sitting in a seat is more beneficial than a booth because you can actually feel closed in and have some psychological reactions to it.
Right.
So just educating staff on, this person has dementia, where's the best place for them to sit, I think can have a profound impact.
Right. And having patience with people that have dementia.
Yeah.
I think the patience is huge. I mean, they'll take forever to order something, but they probably will order the same thing every time. Am I probably correct in that?
Or what you see is...
Or was that just my experience?
No. People like with dementia, they like things that are familiar. So
Yes.
try not to change routine. But I also say sometimes it's easier just to say, hey, I looked at the menu. Do you want this or this? People are good with 2 decisions. Too much
Right.
can be overstimulating.
100%.
So sometimes it's just, or that they'll pick the last thing you said. Or the first things.
Okay.
Typically, somebody with dementia remembers the first and last thing you say to them.
Right.
So I'll give you an example of a perfect sentence. It would be, somebody just said this to me, but come take a shower. Perfect. First word is come, last word is shower, come shower. And we put all the middle stuff in from a dignity perspective, but they remember the first and last word as they age and go further in their journey. So making sure that we only give 2 decisions or not overstimulate.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep things simple.
Totally.
Exactly. So nutrition is something that seems like someone that can be overlooked, especially for a person living with dementia. I know we've talked a little bit about this, how important it is for them to eat. Is there a correlation between nutrition and dementia?
There definitely is. So
Okay.
one diet I always tell people to look up, it's called the MIND diet, MIND, and it stands for Mediterranean dash, MI is intervention and neurodegenerative disease. Oh, no, delay. So the MIND diet is a dash of the Mediterranean dash put together, but research shows if you're 100% compliant, that you reduce your risk of Alzheimer's by 53%. So that is huge. Even if you're only 10% compliant of the MIND diet, you reduce your chances.
Wow.
So it's super powerful. And it's really low red meats, only very few red wines, nuts, olive oil, but that makes a profound impact. And what we're seeing, though it's very, very preliminary, but there is some mounting research, is you might be able to delay or decrease symptoms in people that already have dementia. So now if they change their diet, you might be able to minimize symptoms by giving them the right nutrition.
Wow, that's super interesting. So is that something that just coming up with more Mediterranean type meals in general, something that would be recommended for people that have dementia and Alzheimer's to just kind of increase that into their diets in general?
And I always tell people, don't just go cold turkey. Like they hear this and they say, nope, no more. I had a lady that she's a Latino and rice and beans were her thing. And the family was like, nope, MIND diet. And it was like total culture shock where she just stopped eating. So I say create transition. So they did rice and beans with the MIND diet and slowly removed the rice and beans over time or kept them, changed them out. And they got them to be compliant with the MIND diet and have some outcomes, which is good. So just make sure that this transition, and one thing I have to mention because it's important, is UTIs, a urinary tract infection, is so common.
Yes.
And you'll see these symptoms is there's actually products now. I'll give an example. They have a coffee concentrate you pour in. It's pure water. You microwave it for 20 seconds. You can put sugar or creamer in it, but it's pure water. So if somebody keeps drinking instead of having a million cups of coffee, is they're actually having pure water that tastes like coffee, and you can reduce the UTIs quite drastically. So small stuff like that is so important for people to know at home.
Oh my gosh, I love that tip. That's an amazing tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so simple, and it's
Super
I think it's
simple.
$9, and it makes like 100 cups of coffee.
Wow.
It's on Amazon. So
on Amazon. I mean, you can get it the next day even. Holy cow. Tip of the day. That's amazing. Well, I think that, is there anything else you wanted to talk about as far as music or anything like that we maybe missed? I don't want to.
I just say, if anybody has questions, we are an open book. Like I volunteer every Wednesday from 12 to 1 just to answer people's questions, but they could reach out to you or you guys. And if there's anything that they want to learn more about or need more understanding, just reach out and we will definitely provide it. I think that the only way we're going to provide better dementia care is if we all jump in and help each other.
Absolutely.
And it's no more about making money. It's no more about people trying to have the best product. It's about us working together, or we're not going to be able to care for the seniors coming. So
100%.
I just say reach out and let's have a conversation, or if we can help with anything.
Yeah, and I always want people to remember there are caregiver resources out there. You should never be on an island by yourself. It's not a good place to be, and it can be very frustrating. And just look for those resources. They're out there, and always reach out and get the help that you need, because that's going to make you a better caregiver at the end of the day.
100%.
Right. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this podcast episode. If you like this podcast, please look for more podcasts that are senior and caregiver focused. Thank you.
Thank you.
At Parish Healthcare, we believe in our community. We believe in keeping our community safe. We believe in the art of healing. We believe in healing patients, healing families, healing communities. We believe in the best and brightest working together for the common good. At Parish Healthcare, our team focuses on you as an individual because every life is a work of art to us. Parish Healthcare, where the art of healing comes to life. Visit parishhealthcare.com/healthaware for a free health risk assessment.